Hello, everybody. Welcome to this Money and Entities Live. I am Shannon O'Hara, the founder and creator of Talk to the Entities. What is this money and entities? What is this weird topic? So welcome to this Money and Entities Live. I'm sort of getting used to this thing where I've got one camera here for Instagram. Hello, Instagram. And one camera here for Facebook and YouTube. Hello, Facebook and YouTube. So you have to excuse me if it looks like I'm not looking at you. I am looking at someone else in another universe. Again, I am Shannon O'Hara, and I'm the founder and creator of Talk to Entities. Sorry, I just have a technical question. Max, come here. I don't know what this is going on here. Sorry, guys. A little bit of a slow tech startup today. Just hello, everybody on Instagram. I see a ton of people jumping on. It's wonderful to see you. We're just working out our other camera right here really quick before I get into everything. So I think we're on YouTube, but maybe not on Facebook.
Maybe on Facebook. I would say just keep going.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, great. Thanks. Sorry, guys. Bear with me for a second. I've got a lot of...
There you go.
Okay. So hopefully I'm on Facebook. I might not be right now. But I'm definitely on Instagram. Hello, guys. So welcome to Money and Entities Live. So what is this weird topic of money and entities? So I have been an entity-aware person all of my life. Sometimes it's been amazing, and a lot of times it was a total nightmare, as I'm sure many of you can relate. But it is my interest in consciousness and my privilege to have grown up with Gary Douglas, who's the founder and creator of Access Consciousness. And together, he empowered me, and my interest in not killing myself led me to the development of the tools, the knowledge, and the methodology of Talk to the Entities. And I started exploring what Talk to the Entities was in my early 20s due to just needing to really work out, like, okay, I'm aware of entities. Now, how do I not, like, how does this not be this absolute curse in my entire life? So using the tools, and I'm not going to go too much into, when I say tools, it's a lot. However, what I'm going to do with you guys today is share some of the cool stories that I have about how my willingness to receive and be open to entities showed up in monetary ways. So when I was starting to talk to the entities, it was like I had no idea what was possible. At first, I thought that, like, I needed to get rid of my awareness of entities. And that I tried to do through drugs and alcohol and force and judgment. And all that led to was me being extremely depressed and angry and wanting to commit suicide. And so through the tools of Access, I was able to, like, open up to my awareness in a really powerful way. And what I discovered was that, yes, there's a lot of annoying entities, and yes, there's a lot of entity clearing that's required, but there's also all this other stuff that goes on where there's entities that are grateful, and there's entities that want to gift to us, and there's entities that will take care of us, and there's all this, like, contribution that's going on that I had never acknowledged or gotten. So the first, like, really interesting entity and money story that I have, did you see that light just went off?
Yeah.
We're having actually, like, a lot of entity activity in this house. We're in England, and it's a little bit of a haunted Airbnb. It's very pretty, but it's, like, definitely a little haunted. It's very old. It's like 500 years old, but updated beautifully. But anyways, light went off, but everyone can still see me. I actually really like this lighting without it, if I'm honest, Max. It's actually really lovely. Max is like totally fried because he can't work out like what's going on with the technology, but just a lot of entity activity. Welcome to Talk to the Entities. I'm going to count us lucky that our lives are still broadcasting. So if you're having difficulty watching this live, it might be entity activity. Anyways, you'll be able to replay it. One of the first really cool things that I experienced with an entity and money was in my 20s, I had a huge credit card debt. And I felt pretty hopeless about it. You know, debt, how it could be very oppressive. And I felt like I was never going to be able to get on top of it and all this stuff. And I was laying in bed one morning and by myself. And there was this being that was like standing at the foot of the bed. And I recognized it. Like I knew it was an entity standing there. And like my general response to it was sort of more like, go away. Like, I don't want to deal with you. I don't want to do this kind of a thing. And I sort of just got up and did my day and went about my life. The next morning, woke up being standing at the end of the bed. And I'm like, oh, not you again, you know, go away. I don't want to do this. Got up, went about my day. Third morning, woke up. There was an entity at the oh, Max got the light back on. Entity standing at the end of my bed. And finally, I was like, okay, what? Right? So I'm turning towards the entity and I'm not like super inviting. I'm not really like happy to see it. I'm more just like, what? You're annoying me. What? You know, obviously you're not going away. What do you want? And as soon as I relaxed into actually connecting and communicating with this being. So one of the main premises of Talk to the Entities, actually, so the four basic avenues of dealing with entities are clearing. Clearing is number one, literally just clearing entities. Number two is communication. If you can't clear them, you got to talk to them, like this being that was standing at the end of my bed. So I asked it a question like, what do you want, right? That was opening up the pathway and doorway of communication. There's a massive rainstorm going on outside. There's a lot of activity going on here right now. Anyways, I said, what are you doing at, you know, to this entity finally at morning 3? And as soon as I like got over my point of view of the entity being annoying and that I didn't want to talk to it, I tuned into it and it was actually my grandmother. Now, I know a lot of you guys might think like, why didn't you know it was your grandma to start with? Well, I didn't want to connect with that being. But it was my maternal grandmother. So it was my mother's mother who I had not had a relationship with in my lifetime. She and my mother didn't get along. I grew up in California. My grandmother was in Pennsylvania, which if you know the geography of the US, that's very far apart. I met her maybe 7 times in my entire life, many of the times when I was a child. So it wasn't somebody I knew very well. So her energy wasn't that familiar to me, but it was my maternal grandmother. And I said, hey, what are you doing here? You know, she had never really been that interested in me in life. It was sort of surprising to have her there. And she said, I'm sorry for not being there in your life, essentially. And I was like, wow, okay. And then she asked me an interesting question. She said, is there anything I can do for you now? And I was like, and immediately my credit card debt popped into my head. Totally not believing, like totally thinking this is impossible, totally not believing that this is what was going to happen. I said, well, I've got this credit card debt and it'd be really great if that could get paid off. You know, it was just this like wild thing. I was like, well, if you're asking, you know, there's this I really need help with. And, you know, she sort of like continued to flow me this energy of sort of like, I'm sorry I wasn't there during your lifetime. I care about you. I'd like to, you know, gift you something. Me having no clue what this was going to lead to. And a lot of disbelief too. I had done the math on how long it was going to take me to pay off that credit card debt. And if I had stayed steady with my income and been consistent with my payments, it was going to take me something like 7 years. Within 2.5 months, I had paid off that credit card debt. And that was the first time I was like, wow, she totally contributed to the money coming into my life for me to be able to get on top of that credit card debt. And instead of me like ignoring it or disregarding it or invalidating it and being like, oh, that wasn't a thing, or I'm sure I'm crazy, or, I actually was like, wow, was this my grandmother? And it was like really clear that, yeah, that was something that she had contributed. And it was the first time I even realized that entities could do like stuff like that, or that I could ask for help in that way. So that was like the first big entity and money awareness and breakthrough for me. And then many years later, I was staying at a rented apartment by myself. And the woman was an access person, was showing me around the apartment. And it was a lot of bedrooms in the house, more than I needed by myself. But she was like opening the doors to the bedroom. She's like, look, there's enough bedrooms. There's enough room for all the entities. And before I even thought anything, I said, well, only if they pay. And I thought it was like a funny thing. Like, it was sort of like, yeah, the entities can be here, but only if they pay. And I thought that for the first time. And we both laughed like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if entities could pay, not even thinking it was like a thing. A few minutes later, we walk out into the kitchen of this apartment, and right in the middle of the kitchen counter is a gold ring with diamonds. And Liz, whose house it was, who she was showing me on, she like goes in the other room, and I'm like in the kitchen looking at this gold ring, and I'm thinking, oh, this must be hers. Like, she must have taken off her ring or something when she was showing me around the apartment. So I take it from the kitchen and I go into the living room where Liz was, and I said, is this your ring? I just found this in the kitchen. And she goes, no, that's not mine. And I was like, do you think it's your cleaner's? Like, maybe she left it? She goes, no, that's not mine. That's not hers. Like, it's not anybody's. And she just sort of like looked at this ring like, no, that has nothing to do with me. And I looked at this ring I was holding in my hand, and I went, is this the entities paying to stay here? Yes. It was like I had basically stated the sort of the deal with, if entities want to be around me and want to stay in this house, jokingly, they can only do it if they pay. And immediately I received payment. And that was like this, that sort of sealed the deal for me. I was like, oh, okay. So this is like a thing. Entities and money is like a thing. Now, I am very sensitive to and very aware that money is one of the most crazy places for people, and entities is this other really crazy, weird place for people. So putting the two together can really bring out the crazy in people. And oftentimes I see people treat this topic as like, okay, good, the entities are going to be the source of my life, or the source of my creation, and the source of my money. And I think this is like a pretty historical thing in a lot of cultures. Like, people like pray to an entity or a being outside of them to give them good fortune or to take care of them. Whereas I'm from California, and I didn't really grow up like that. That wasn't a thing that was really done in my culture. There was not really, entities weren't even like a thing, let alone, and religion was definitely not a thing where I grew up. I grew up sort of like on the edge of the new world, where there just wasn't a lot of culture and history, and there wasn't a lot of religion. So when I discovered this thing about how entities could contribute, I was like, oh, okay, I get this. Like, so how does this work? So then I essentially went on to cooperate with a bunch of entities to develop Talk to the Entities, and have received so many currencies, money, but also energy, awareness, expansion, support in all these incredible ways, that it really woke me up to the fact that there is contribution in the universe. And there are beings who do desire to gift. Now, there are beings who are total pains in the butt. They're just like people. It's not like every entity is this great, benevolent, gifting being. But if we are open to receiving, now receiving is the third aspect of Talk to the Entities work. So first is clearing, second is communicating, third is receiving. Receiving is this very dynamic, very powerful being that all of us can function from, that catalyzes a lot more possibility. one of the things that my dad says in his money work is that you don't have a money problem, you have a receiving problem. And one of the things that Talk to the Entities really taught me was about receiving. There were entities that would show up that I couldn't clear, that I couldn't even really work out what they were doing there until I started receiving. And when I started receiving, there was all of this incredible contribution of energy and support that I hadn't acknowledged, that I didn't realize was possible, and has filled my life, my living, my career, my bank account, my consciousness with so much wealth. And so it is this great gift of receiving and being open to the beings that do and will gift that I hope to discover and explore with each and every one of you that chooses to come and do the Money and Entities class with me. Talk to the Entities beginning is a prerequisite because you have got to get those tools under your belt to be able to even confront the spirit world without freaking out or being weird. You have to be able to be present and not in reaction, right? So you have to know your clearings, you have to know how to communicate to some degree and be inclusive rather than in reaction. Who and what is being gifted? Are you acknowledging it? Are you receiving it? Or are you disbelieving it and rejecting it because it's too weird or doesn't match, your parents' point of view or would make you too strange or all sorts of stuff like that? And what if there were gifts being given that you could choose and receive with ease? So I invite each and every one of you consciousness explorers to discover what is possible with receiving and to really be courageous in your willingness to open to more. Thank you everyone for tuning in. This was a Money and Entities Live. See you soon for the Money and Entities class. Bye guys.